What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Now in today's video, we're going to go over a couple reasons as to why NIO is actually up so much today. We're also going to cover whether there's still a buy at this price that they're trading for right now. And we're also going to touch on if NIO could be expanding to the US at some point in the near future. So make sure you guys stick around to the end because we have a lot to cover about NIO today. But before we actually jump into the video, for those of you who are new, my name is Evan and I make videos showing you guys different ways to make money in the stock market. So if that interests you guys, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss when I upload. Also, if you guys wouldn't mind going down and hitting the like button, I would really appreciate it, and it lets me know that you guys enjoy these video updates every day. So again, if you guys wouldn't mind hitting the like button, I would really appreciate it. Now for NIO's share price today, they actually hit right around $62. You can see by their share price here, and they're actually up around 5% on the day. Now I'm sure most of you guys know that lately NIO has been trading pretty flat and they really haven't had many price movements, but we're going to touch on why they're actually moving up today, and this could be for quite a few reasons, and so we're going to cover each one of those reasons. But before we do look into that, I want to show you the 1 week chart, and this is where you can see that NIO's been trading pretty flat, and they're actually up 11% on the week. But before they saw a price increase yesterday and today, you can see that NIO was pretty flat all of last week, and then just leading into yesterday's trading day, and then today, of course both days we've seen increases. And again, there could be a few reasons why NIO could be increasing so much, but the first reason is possibly due to a regulatory filing that NIO reported last week, and this was where they said that they were going to spend about $850 million to increase their ownership in NIO China. So with this money spent, NIO would increase their ownership from 86.4 up to over 90.3%. Now this doesn't seem like a huge increase, but when we look back even just a couple months, NIO only owned about 74%, I believe, of NIO China. So they're constantly increasing their ownership of NIO China. Now the other percentage is owned by new investors. And so of course, because NIO is investing this money back into themselves to acquire ownership again and to increase their ownership, because for those who don't know, NIO China basically holds all of NIO's Chinese assets, and it's all kind of compiled into one thing. So because NIO is owning more and more of this NIO China, it shows a lot of investors that NIO is very bullish on their own company, and therefore that leads more investors to believe in NIO if NIO believes in themselves so much and they're investing such a significant amount of money back into themselves to acquire more of their own company. So while that may not be the main reason why NIO is increasing through this week, I think that does have something to do with it. But one other thing that could be affecting NIO's share price is that they announced when they're going to have earnings, and this is going to be on March 1st. And so they're going to report fourth quarter and full 2020 earnings after market close on Monday, March 1st. And it's also worth noting that NIO's conference call is going to happen in the evening at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And this is also 9 a.m. Beijing time. So it's really not common that a company would increase and their share price would shoot up just from announcing when earnings are. I would expect an increase like this once earnings are released and we see that they had very positive earnings. But again, this is just one thing of many that could be driving up the share price of NIO both yesterday and today. But the last major thing that could be driving up the share price of NIO is that they actually want to expand to the US a lot sooner than people were expecting. Now this comes from Deutsche Bank's analyst Edison Yu, and he actually tracked down an interesting NIO tidbit, and he found a job posting on LinkedIn, and this was related to the business plan for NIO to expand to the US market. And the posting is now closed, but Edison Yu says that they're looking for someone to formulate an action plan to enter the US market. And I did mention this in a previous video, but if you guys haven't seen the posting, I'll throw up a screenshot here so you guys can see exactly what they're looking for. And you can see the job responsibilities and the requirements that NIO is looking for from somebody in America that could help lead NIO in the US market. Now, aside from just expanding to the US, we also know that NIO wants to expand to Europe, and they're also planning on doing that by the end of 2021. And this is also coming after one of their competitors, XPeng, actually began selling cars in Norway in December. Now, I don't think this is necessarily a response to XPeng selling cars in Norway, because we know that NIO has been wanting to expand to Europe for quite a few months actually, but I think they are trying to get there quicker than they previously planned, just looking at the fact that XPeng is already expanding. And if NIO was actually able to expand to the US in the next couple of years, that would put NIO miles ahead of a company like XPeng, because as of right now, NIO is actually number 3 on top auto manufacturers, and they're actually right behind Toyota. Now, I guess I shouldn't say they're right behind because Toyota has about a $200 billion market cap and NIO is right around 100 billion, somewhere between 90 and 100 billion. But I think many people would agree that if NIO expanded to the US, they would have a lot more eyes on their company and they would have a lot more US investors, let alone US people buying their vehicles. And that would be one of those things I think would push them over the top of Toyota, and then they would be number 2 right behind Tesla. Now, I don't think NIO has to rush to get to the US because their manufacturing capacity is about 100,000 vehicles per year. Of course, they want to triple that and increase that over the coming years, but as of right now, NIO is kind of maxed out, and they're also leveraging their partnership with JAC, who is the current producer of their vehicles. So NIO is using their own manufacturing plants, plus leveraging their partnership with JAC, and that's how they're going to hit these 100,000 vehicle deliveries by the end of 2021. Now, I wouldn't even be surprised if they got up to about 150,000, so their limit is somewhere around there, somewhere between 100 and 150,000. But in order for them to expand to the US, they would have to be able to produce a lot more vehicles than they're currently doing, and that would cost a lot of time and a lot of money, both of which NIO doesn't really have as of right now. So I wouldn't put all your eggs in one basket figuring that NIO is going to expand to the US very soon, but I think it's possible within the next couple of years. And at least as of right now, just figure on them expanding to Europe, and once they do that, even though it's probably already priced into their share price, we're most likely going to see a big increase in NIO's share price when they finally announce their expansion to Europe. Now, going back to NIO's deliveries per year, this is one of those things that's kind of limiting them from expanding to the US because there's already so many auto manufacturers in the US. And because there are so many, this would mean that there's a lot more difficulty in maintaining a market share for a company like NIO. They would have so much competition, and there's also a lot of other players that appear to realize that they need to launch electric vehicles in the near future. For example, General Motors plans to launch 30 EVs around the globe by 2025, and they're going to be investing about $27 billion to make that happen. And then Ford also announced that they're planning to spend about $20 billion between now and 2025 on electric vehicle and autonomous vehicle development. So these other auto manufacturers that have been around for years and years, some of them 10 and 20 times longer than NIO's been around, and sure, they've only been producing normal gas-powered vehicles, but it doesn't take much for them to get into the electric vehicle space because they have the capital to do so. So I think NIO really has to up their game, and they have to put out a lot more vehicles and earn a lot more money before they can expand to the US. Now, Europe, on the other hand, I don't know necessarily how many competitors there are, but I would imagine it'd be much easier for them to expand to Europe, and that's most likely why they're choosing Europe as their first place to expand to. Now, I'm not saying NIO can't expand in the next year or two to the US, but when we actually look back at history and what's happened with previous auto manufacturers, foreign-made cars have actually had a very tremendous impact on the industry. And back in the early 1970s, GM, Ford, and Chrysler, they had about 70 to 80% of the US car market. And during that time, for example, Japanese cars were an afterthought. Now fast forward to today, and these three auto manufacturers only have about 40% of the market. Toyota, Honda, and Nissan actually account for about 1/3 of all light vehicle sales in the US. So it's not really a question of if NIO can expand to the US, it's more a question of when they will. And it's pretty obvious that they do want to expand to the US, especially looking at that job offer that was on LinkedIn, asking for somebody in the US market and somebody that can guide NIO, bringing them up with these other top auto manufacturers in the country. So while it may take time for any foreign auto manufacturer to build a US business from scratch, NIO's stock appears to be reacting pretty positively to Edison Yu's find in reference to the LinkedIn post. And whether this means that you should still buy into NIO or not, it's kind of up to you because shares were actually up 3.3% to $61 in midday trading on Tuesday, and they're up about 25% year to date after rising more than 1,100% in 2020. But analysts do still see a lot more gains for NIO, and actually about 65% of analysts rate shares a buy. And when we compare this to the buy rating for stocks in the Dow Jones and the S&P 500, it's at about 55%. So that's a pretty good amount better than the broad market. And Edison Yu himself has NIO at a buy, and he has a target of $70 for their share price. So like I've said before, if you guys are planning on investing in NIO and you haven't bought in yet, I would suggest dollar cost averaging in, but make sure you guys do your own research and decide on your own if this is a stock you want to invest in. Because I'm not a financial advisor and you should never listen to anybody on YouTube. But with this big price increase, maybe right now is not the best time and you could wait for a pullback, because we know that NIO has these big ups and downs. Or if you don't want to wait, again, you should dollar cost average in and set aside a certain amount of money to invest every week or every month, and then you'll get the average share price of NIO and you won't have to worry so much about buying at the top. Now, one last thing I wanted to mention before we wrap this up is that one other reason why NIO could actually be increasing is actually due to Elon Musk. Because if you guys didn't know, recently Elon actually bought Bitcoin and he put about $1.5 billion into Bitcoin, and this shot up Bitcoin's price, and we saw Tesla react pretty positively as well. And of course, everybody knows that these smaller EV stocks are very reliant on Tesla's share price. So because Tesla started going back up, NIO and these other smaller EV stocks saw a very similar upwards trend. So I just wanted to mention that just in case you guys weren't aware of what happened with Elon Musk and Bitcoin, and just give that as another possibility of why NIO's share price is up so much the last couple days. Now, for those of you who made it this far into the video, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on NIO expanding to Europe and what month you think that could possibly happen. So me personally, I don't think it's going to happen until the very end of the year, probably at some point in fourth quarter, and possibly even towards the very end of the year in November or December. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments and what month you guys think they're going to expand to Europe in. Also, if you guys haven't signed up for Webull, make sure you guys sign up and deposit $100 and you'll receive 2 free stocks. And if you guys want to join the Discord, make sure you guys join using the link in the description, or you can also use the top pinned comment down in the comment section. And if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like, because it really does help out the channel. And with that said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you back here in the next one.